Hello and welcome back to Lowdown, a show by the students of the University of Central Missouri in Warrensburg. I'm Kylie Dannett. Thanks for joining us this evening as we continue to dive into all the cool things happening here at UCM. Speaking of, we got the chance to sit down with Dr. Kimball and learn more about Black History Month. This and more starting now. Welcome back to KM West. Today we're here with Dr. Kimball, who's a professor of communication disorders here on campus, and she's going to talk to us about Black History Month. So can you first tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do here on the UCM campus?
Okay, I am an associate professor of communication disorders at the Welsh Schmidt Center for Communication Disorders. Mm-hmm. I am the undergraduate program coordinator, and I'm also the graduate advisor. My role there is to teach courses as well as to do clinical supervision of our students who are going through their clinical practicum.
Okay. So can you tell us the significance of Black History Month?
Well, as I think about it, Black History Month was originally started, well actually it was started 50 years to the almost the exact day that Dr. Woodson, mm-hmm. He was a PhD in history, and Dr. Carter Woodson, he started what he termed as Negro History Week. Mm-hmm. And he did that because in his research and in his studies, he saw that there was very little given about Black people, about yes. African Americans, and he thought that the world, or at least the nation, should at least know about some of the accomplishments of African American individuals. And then 50 years later, President Gerald Ford thought that individuals should really celebrate and take the opportunity to honor African Americans who too often did not get any recognition at all. And so Black History Month, at that point in 1976, our American bicentennial, mm-hmm. it became a federally celebrated month for mm-hmm. for individuals of the African diaspora. And I think that African Americans have an opportunity to honor individuals mm-hmm. from the past, important individuals from the past, but not only for African Americans, but people of the African diaspora period. Black history is recognized in Canada, mm-hmm. and the same time that we recognize it here in the United States in February, but it's also recognized in the UK, in Ireland, and also in the Netherlands, although they do recognize it, they do celebrate it in October rather than February. So I think it is a very important time for the Black community to celebrate those who have come before us, those on whose shoulders we stand.
Can you tell us some people in the Black History Month movement that you think everybody should know about?
Well, I have my favorites is Frederick Douglass. Mm. I really love Frederick Douglass. He thought that that knowledge was not necessarily too good for a slave, but that when a slave had knowledge, it really could become a curse as well as a blessing, because they could see what they were missing out on, those individuals who were able to gain knowledge and to be able to read. So he's one of my favorites.
And his birthday is in February,
February
isn't it?
14th.
Yes,
February
so
14th.
I think that's part of why it is in February.
That's why it's in February, because his birthday is February 14th, and Abraham Lincoln's is February 12th. Mm-hmm. So Dr. Woodson wanted the Negro History Week to be in February to encompass both of those days.
Oh.
And so so he's one of my favorites. Another favorite is Jesse Owens. I like Jesse Owens because he was famous at a time, during those Olympics, that he basically, waved his nose at Hitler,
Yes.
as well as waved his nose at the racists here in America. He could run for the USA in Germany, but he could not go into a restaurant. He could not ride a bus. He could not do the things that other people, white people could do.
Yeah.
He could not do as a Black American. And so I really like him because, to me, he was a hero because he did not let the racism in the United States stop him, and he certainly did not let the racism that Hitler was presenting stop him as well.
Can you tell us how people can get involved and more informed on Black history here on campus?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because KMOS, I think, does a wonderful job with, looking at the News Bureau every day, how they have put the different shows that are coming on TV, on PBS and all of that, the Independent Lens and the American Experience. Yeah. I think that's really, really good. But, I just thinking, I don't know if there has been any Black history programs or things on campus. I don't know about them.
Yeah.
And I fought myself for that too. I fought myself. I fought all of us in the Black community for not, pushing, celebrating, and honoring our Black forefathers and the Black people who are making history right now. And so one of the things I think that we can do as a campus is to get interested in Black history, is to get not necessarily Black history, but to get interested in the achievements that Black people bring to this nation. I mean, we are in everything. We're doctors, we're lawyers, we're educators, we're orators, we're poets, we are dancers, we're actors. We do all of that. Yeah. And my oldest daughter she works at the University of Pittsburgh, but she's also an actor. So she has met firsthand, worked with some of the history-making Black actors and producers. Denzel Washington, Will Smith, people I don't even know, Tony Braxton, just so many Black name people, well, as well as some of the other famous white actors as well, Russell Crowe and Jane Fonda and some of them. So I think that we as a campus, we have to take interest in wanting to celebrate and honor African American achievements.
All right, well, thanks for coming and talking with us. You had a lot of interesting things to say, and I definitely got some education myself.
Well, I'm glad you invited me. I'm really glad to be here, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Hi, we're with Kiara Solon from the Events Marketing and Management Program. Welcome to KMOS.
Thank you, Eric. I'm happy to be here.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself before we get started?
Yes, I have been at UCM for 11 years. I've been teaching through the management department for 6 of those years. I teach business communication and events marketing and management as my primary content areas.
Can you tell me a little bit about the program?
It's really a unique program. It was a combination or a collaboration between the UCM marketing department and the UCM management department, and they saw a need or a strong desire from students to have some sort of a major that prepared them to go into events marketing or events management.
What kinds of careers do people go into from the events?
I usually tell them, if there's something that you're really passionate about, whether it's history or politics or sports or music or whatever, there's probably an events management career that is for you.
We wanted to get into talking about the events management and advanced events courses, management courses. Can you tell me just a little bit about those courses?
Okay. The two courses work together. So in the intro course, the major project that the students are working on throughout the duration of the semester is they get introduced to who our client is going to be. So like in this case, it's Rise Community Services. And then we have Rise come to the classroom very early in the semester, talk about what Rise is, what it does, get a sense for the organization. And then the students put together initial event pitches. This last semester, they pitched, with all the students, 6 different events to Rise. And then of those 6 events, the Rise representatives chose their top 2. So then for the remainder of the semester, the students work in 2 teams, and they actually work to flesh out those event details. So instead of just having this concept that's like, hey, here's this cool thing we can do, they work on where would we do this? How would we do this? How much would it cost? What resources would we need? How do we even make this possible? What types of marketing plan would we need? And so they really come up with a more elaborate event proposal. So then at the end of the semester, we invite the client back, and then the students propose the 2 ideas. And then at that point, the clients deliberate, and then they choose the one event that they want to see move forward. Well, then when the students come back in the spring, they take that initial event proposal, and then we spend the spring semester making that event happen.
Can you tell us a little bit, just give us a brief description of Rise Community Services?
So Rise Community Services is an organization here in Warrensburg, and the main function of the organization is they provide services to individuals with developmental disabilities, specifically adults with developmental disabilities. They have an occupational center where they have individuals there who are there doing work. They contract out to different companies in town. And then another area of Rise is they have their residential day center. They have science activities, art activities. They cook their own meals. They go and do field trips in the community. They also provide residential services. They do have some group homes where individuals live together, and then they also have individual homes where their people go in and provide their workers go in and provide services to the individuals that they serve. And then they also have a store here in town called Rise Crafts and Curiosities, where they make and sell crafts.
Can you tell me a little bit about the project relating to Rise?
So the actual event itself is going to be a paint-along party, where individuals have the opportunity to purchase paint packages. And with that paint package, they're going to get a tile, a ceramic tile, and they're going to get certain colors of paint, paintbrushes, and what they would need to paint. So anybody who registers for the event and they pay their $6.76 or whatever the cost is, that's what they get, is they get the supplies that they need. On April 9th at 7 o'clock, everybody who is participating is going to log into a Zoom link, and then we are going to have a virtual paint-along party. And they're actually going to put people in different breakout rooms. We have representatives from Rise that are speaking, clients from Rise that are speaking, just so people can more fully understand the Rise experience. So then at the end of the event, we're going to have some raffle items and that type of stuff, okay? So then after the event, the week of April 11th, we will be hosting several tabling events for people to come drop off their tiles. And then on Saturday, April 17th, we will be meeting to actually take all of the tiles that have been painted, and we are going to be putting them together into a mural in the shape of the autism ribbon, because it is Autism Awareness Month, and then that mural is going to go on the side of a building on Pine Street.
And I think what's really great about it is it's really all student driven, right?
Yeah.
It starts with the students and it really ends with the students. So it's real world experience
and
that I think is incredible.
5 students in the class this semester. So it feels ambitious. It would feel ambitious if it were 20 students, but it certainly feels ambitious with 5 students. But they're 5 completely amazing students, and so I have no doubt that it's going to be just as cool as how they envisioned it. You can paint, you can have your art displayed for the future in downtown Warrensburg. You can support Rise Community Services. You can maybe win a raffle prize, so you could help events management students achieve their goals. You could help Rise achieve some of their goals, and you could help Warrensburg Main Street achieve some of their goals with downtown beautification.
Wow, that's awesome. So how can people get more information about the program?
We have some really, really great social media. We have an awesome Facebook account, and we have an awesome Instagram account. It's called Puzzle Palettes, like Pino's Palettes or whatever. So PUZZLEPALETTES. I think I spelled that correctly. So people can register between now and the end of March. When you register at that time, you can register for just one kid, or if there's multiple kids, if your whole family wants to paint along, you just go to our social media and you click on the link in our bio. Takes you right to our registration page.
Absolutely great. Well, thank you so much for coming
Sure.
in. It's
No
been
problem.
great talking to you.
Thanks, Eric.
Hi, I'm with Aaron Scully, instructor of theater at the University of Central Missouri, and he's working on a very unique project. He's adapting the play Oedipus, a traditional Greek play, with students at State Fair Community College, and the performance dates are coming up February 25th through the 27th at 7:30 and February 28th at 2 o'clock. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us here today. We're excited to have you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, can you tell, for people who don't know you, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I am a Bergian. I grew up in Warrensburg and ended up going to school at Mizzou, and then made my way back here and got my master's, and then got my PhD in theater at Mizzou again, and then got a job back here. So I am now married to my lovely wife, Ashley, and I have 2 dogs, Gus and Ophelia. I am a playwright. I've been writing plays since I first started studying theater again back in 2012, and subsequently won a few awards at KCACTF for some of the plays I wrote. I've had a play that's been in semifinalists for the Eugene O'Neill Conference, which is the big national conference, and then I've had plays produced around the country, 5 or 6 different cities. Some 10-minute plays, some one-acts, and full-length plays. So,
can you tell me a little bit about the play that you've written is based upon an original Greek play by Sophocles. Can you tell me a little bit about the story of Oedipus?
So Oedipus Rex, or Oedipus the King, by Sophocles, was written way back around 400 BC. It's about, there's a plague in the city of Thebes where Oedipus is the king, and the reason why there is a plague is because something is going on that shouldn't be. The people of Thebes coming to King Oedipus and saying, "Help us." And so in order to try to help them, he embarks on this investigation as to what is going on. Through his investigation, he subsequently learns that he had accidentally killed his father and is now married to his mother. So it's a comedy.
It's a very happy play. It's actually a great play. I mean, I've read it myself, obviously, being a theater person. But a lot of people think, well, gosh, it's old and it's Greek.
I really was thinking about the Midwestern audience and whether they would really like to come into a theater and see, even if you do a really simple translation of Oedipus that simplifies the language, there's still a lot of monologues, and there's the chorus, and there's just not a whole lot of action because they're just talking about what happens. So in a lot of ways that's really brilliant, but in a lot of ways that can be quite boring. I just wanted to do something different with it, and so I decided that I was going to write my own Oedipus story based on what happens in Sophocles' play, and really just take that and run with it in a different direction, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially what happened is State Fair approached me about directing for them, over a year ago now. It was before the pandemic started. So I had selected a different play, just a small cast realism play. And then the pandemic happened. And then they said, Tim Wells, who is the technical director over at State Fair, who called me and said, do you still want to do that play? And I was like, I don't know. You've read a play, you have a vision as a director of what it's going to look like and what you're going to try to work towards. Well, when people start having masks on and have to social distance, that vision can't really be accomplished. So you have to be either okay with that or say, you know what, I'm going to wait and do this play later. So that's what I decided to do, and I was like, what could I do that would work within this environment? So really when I started the adaptation, it was pretty highly political, and it wasn't very good. So I threw that out. So I went back to the drawing board and thought about this idea of just doing like a biopic of Oedipus, and started writing some of the initial scenes, and I really liked where they were going, and started thinking about how to tell this whole story of his life. And so that's essentially what I did. And I got to the rehearsal room for the first rehearsal. I had the first 25 pages done. It was quite scary, and I don't know what the actors thought about not having a full script, but I just said, we're going to get started telling the story and see where it goes. And so we did. We started blocking and thinking about the first scenes, and there's a lot of movement in it, and so I let the actors design some of these movement scenes, and we looked at how that went, and then so it just kind of slowly built itself. It ended up working out. So just the idea of having everybody in a room and just throwing ideas out, and then starting to move around and see what happens, and then on top of that, the character work that was happening with everybody. It's really an amazing transition as a writer when you actually have the people that are playing the characters in your head when you're writing for them. Really, they gave me ideas. I wrote all the words, but they definitely collaborated on how I was going to write those words. It's been very cool, very rewarding and fun, and the students over there are just so creative and pleasant and hardworking, and I've just really enjoyed it.
It sounds like to me it's Oedipus giving us the background and then telling the story almost in a more user-friendly way than the original play did.
Absolutely. Very, very tight, short scene changes. So it feels like they're movie cuts. And Aaron, the actor playing Oedipus, is really, really knocking this out of the park.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Please come see the show. It should be a lot of fun. No, it is a lot of fun. I made it a point to try to add quite a bit of levity to a very serious story.
It is a great play, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. And Aaron, I just really appreciate you coming in and talking about the show.
Thank you,
I
Eric.
know it's your passion, and I can tell that just by talking to you. And I know the students at State Fair, from what I've heard, are really enjoying the process. So I appreciate you doing that.
That is good to hear.
So thank you so much.
Eric. I appreciate it.
So Myers Market is, it originally started, our first location, as a small town general store. The initial thought of it was a local market, because our town in Obnoster didn't have a grocery store. And from there we grew into a deli, gift store. We have, at this location, ice cream, a larger deli, so we have flatbread pizza, sandwiches. We even have a children's boutique at this location. We had a spare room in the back that was just kind of a waste of space. And so about 3 months ago, we turned that room into a useful space, and it's been quite a success. So with our local products, being a small business ourselves, we try to tap into the local market. One of our main things, being our ice cream, is actually a local ice cream out of Jeff City. So that's a big pull, and so we wanted our focal wall to be locally made. So everything on that wall is actually a local vendor. And so we just try to make sure that people know that anything on that wall is made locally. We actually just added a couple weeks ago a second local ice cream. We have Ice Cream Factory now, sold by the pints at both locations. They're also, I think it's Eldon, Missouri. So that's a second local ice cream that we offer. Picking Warrensburg for our second location, we've always talked about it. April was a very unique time to branch out, but things just fell into our lap, and we just couldn't ignore that it was like the perfect opportunity, this building, the people that helped us get into this building. I mean, it was just, the cards were just kind of laid out for us, and we love Warrensburg, we love the downtown area, being close to the college, being part of the Warrensburg Main Street area. I mean, it couldn't have been a better match for us. This building couldn't have been a better match. And so it was, the pieces fell together perfectly. So we jumped really fast, and we opened up 2 months later during a very unique time for everybody. And it's been amazing ever since. I don't know if it helped or hurt. I think in the Knob location, it did help. I did see a lot of people going back to shopping small, with us offering local, like a little local grocery area. people were running out and getting just the necessities with us versus wanting to go to Walmart or a bigger grocery chain because you were shopping with 1 or 2 people versus everybody in town. We aren't going to replace your weekly grocery shopping trip, but you know, if you're out of milk or eggs or need an onion, you know, we're here for you, and it's a safer shopping experience. Warrensburg has supported us tremendously. We opened halfway through the warmer months, and with ice cream being one of our staple offerings, I just cannot imagine what this coming summer is going to bring. What have I learned? I have learned a ton. You're never going to make everybody happy, but you can only do your best. And so as long as I can say that I'm doing my best, and that, because for every 10 people that come in here and have a positive experience and walk out with a smile on their face after getting a scoop of ice cream, you know, you're going to have that one person that is very negative. And I've just come to realize after 4 years that I cannot let that replay in my head. I have to remember all the happy times. It gives you that feel like an old town general store. It has the nostalgia feel when you walk in, like when you were growing up. It has the bulk candy. It's in an 1800s building, and you just have to be happy when you're there. When we were remodeling that building, I had this vision of like kids when they were younger riding their bikes up with pocket change to buy the candy after like baseball practice. And I think it was the second day we were open back in 2017 that happened. I was working the store, and this group of boys pulled up, threw their bikes down on the curb, came in, counted the change out, and bought the candy. And I was like, this was what I wanted. So it's just got this nostalgia when you walk in.